Hello and welcome back to another episode of Exposing D&D 5e Monster CRs with me, Andrew. On today's episode, we are taking a look at the newest second place spot on my channel for most views and probably most likes, the Aeorian Reverser. I'm not entirely sure how this got to be in second place, but it has over 4,000 views, and I thought, let's take a closer look at this instead of the quick look and the look from the live stream. So with that, let's dive right into the base stats for the Aeorian Reverser. Starting off with its AC of 15, it's a large monstrosity, changing the hit dice to a D10, and with that D10, there's 14 of them, lots of hit points. With an 18 constitution, we are expecting this Aeorian Reverser to be a CR 8. Now that our base stats are out of the way, let's take a look at the skills area here to see that we have two saving throws, Wisdom and Charisma. Now because there's two, it doesn't really matter, and we don't have to add that into our saving throw section here because at base it's expected to have 0 to 2, giving it no additional bonus. On top of that, we have skills, which don't matter, damage immunities of Radiant and Necrotic, but since there's only two, and I always suggest only using them when there's 3 or more conditions, we'll skip the damage immunities and move down into the monster traits. Now, an important one that we have here is magic resistance, and that will end up giving the Aeorian Reverser an effective +2 AC bonus, shifting it from the 15 that we already gave it to a 17. After that, the monster traits are all finished, so let's move into the actions and see what we have here. Right off the bat, I'm going to add in the 2-hit bonus of +8 that our monster has for both the bite and claw attacks, and we'll see also that the Aeorian Reverser has a multi-attack of 3 attacks, 1 with its bite and 2 with its claws. So let's go ahead and work out the damage for its bite, seeing that it has 11.5 piercing damage and 6.5 force damage, giving us a total of 18 damage for the bite alone. After that, we have claws. That will be 8.5 slashing damage plus 7 force damage from its swipes of the claws. Now there's 2 of those, remember. After that, we'll go ahead and calculate the multi-attack of 1 bite plus 2 claws, giving us a total of 49 damage for the multi-attack. And now that we have the actions taken care of, let's take a look at this reaction that is very unique to the Reverser. And surprisingly enough, it's called Reversal. When a creature the Reverser can see within 30 feet of it regains hit points, the Reverser reduces the number of hit points regained to 0. And the Reverser deals 13.5 force damage to the creature. So we can actually add that in as an attack, since it can do the reaction once per round, and hopefully they'll be able to do that once per round as it is. So we're adding in 13.5 force damage as a third attack from the reversal reaction. Now since our Reverser doesn't have anything else to do for its actions or reactions, we'll go ahead and calculate the DPR for rounds 1, 2, and 3. And since they're all pretty much going to be the same, of 1 multi-attack, being 3 attacks, plus the 1 reaction, we're going to see that the Reverser can get upwards of 62.5 damage per round. We're basically just going to copy this to rounds 2 and 3 since the Reverser can't do anything else, and we're going to see that for the full attack, as I like to call it, or the total DPR that the Reverser can do, is going to end up being 62 points of damage. So luckily, our Aeorian Reverser is a CR8 monster. Now the funny part is that it's got a higher OCR and a lower DCR. So in effect, this would probably be an aggressive playstyle monster, and something that should be charging right up into battle. So now that we've found our Aeorian Reverser to be an actual CR8 monster, thankfully, let's take a look at encounter building. Now if we wanted to use the Aeorian Reverser as an epic encounter like I like to do occasionally, we would take a look at the Xanathar's Guide to Everything Solo Monster Challenge Rating stat block here in the Dungeon Master section. And to start off, we could use 4 characters at 6th level to fight a CR8, 5 characters at 5th level to fight a CR8, and with 6 characters, probably somewhere between 4 and 5th level. After that, we can start using the Aeorian Reverser as a multiple monsters encounter, and we would start that off with 6 players to 1 Reverser at 8th level, 5 players at 9th level, or 4 players at 10th level. And 10th level is probably where you're going to want to start using the actual Reverser, since this is where you can start throwing in extra monsters as well. After that, at 11th level to 12th level, we'll see that we can use 3 players to 1 Reverser, and then after that we'll get 2 players at 13th level all the way to 16th level against 1 Reverser, and we can start using the Reverser solo against players somewhere around 17th to 20th level. And when we get into an area of 3 or less players up against one of the monsters, this is the area I like to focus on, because then we can start using the rest of the players to build out the multiple monsters encounter and really get that action economy up so that the encounter is a little bit more dangerous for the players. Now for monster modifications. What might I do to modify the monster a little bit? Well, maybe I would throw on one more saving throw and bump that up from 2 to 3, giving the monster an effective +2 AC bonus. That will shift the DCR up to a 7. After that, maybe we could look at pack tactics, if there's going to be a bunch of these Aeorians in there or with other monsters. And if we throw pack tactics on there, we'll see that our monster is now starting to grow from its CR8 base up into a CR9. We could even throw in other things such as charge, and maybe the attack will average 10 points of damage, shifting the OCR up to an 11, and even higher. So the more that you add and modify your monster, the more it's going to increase. And lastly, how would I use the Aeorian Reverser in battle? Well, since this is more of an aggressive style monster with okay hit points, I would definitely have this one charging up into battle and getting into the face of the tanks or the other types of melee out there, or even trying to run past the tanks and getting into the back lines to really cause chaos, maybe attacking some casters or range support from, rangers or other various types. Beyond that, the Reverser should have some kind of support, so I would throw in some casters, or we could use other types of flying monstrosities or casters as well. So it's really up to you how you want to use the Aeorian Reverser, but I would highly recommend this being the running up into battle and just causing all sorts of chaos, especially with that reversal reaction. And this has been a closer look at the Aeorian Reverser. If you've made it this far in the video, thank you so much for sticking around. You've been amazing. And this is me, Andrew, hoping that all your encounters are even rated.